Okay.
Okay.
I mean, as long as we don't find out at the end of the episode he did.
All right.
All right, welcome to the FanCast podcast, where we give you your daily dose of sports as well as a way to ask for more. I'm your host, Neth, and with me today is Bryant, Cody, and Mario. Guys, sign off.
What up?
How you doing?
Hi, hello.
Sorry that we didn't upload last week. We had the bros moving into this sweet-ass pad. Guys, tell them about this space. It is dope.
Oh, I'm excited. It's great. We're going to have a better place to record and give you guys the best content. It's going to be exciting. Exciting change in our lives, for sure.
Russell behind the scenes always stays behind the scenes, but he is smiling because he knows that this place is going to be fire when we get this studio up and running.
Lit.
I
No.
I didn't know it was my turn to speak, but no, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what it's all about. It's nice to actually be in person recording this for once rather than being in our own separate house. So hopefully my voice is picking up pretty well, but yeah, it's going to be a good time.
Bring us closer together.
All right, well, today we're going to be breaking it down first and foremost with way too early predictions. This is when we take a look into the future and tell you who we think is going to win the marquee awards of our leagues. Today we're going to be talking about the NBA, starting off with Rookie of the Year. Take it away, B.
Whole 2 weeks into the season, man. You kidding me? This isn't way too early. This is right on par. This is right on par with the rookie that has already dropped a triple-double this season. The easiest pick has to be Ben Simmons.
Why you gonna take Ben Simmons so early?
Yo, because I'm first. So I'm going to take the first pick.
All right.
Ben Simmons already dropped the triple-double. Granted, technically, this is more of like a redshirt freshman year than anything because technically he was a rookie last year, got hurt, whatever. He's putting the ball in the hoop real good. He's passing the ball real good. He's rebounding the ball better than I thought he was going to on this team with somebody like a monster like Joel Embiid in the paint. He's proving what trusting an NBA team's entire process will do.
That's fair, I guess. I mean, although the NBA went ahead and changed that entire process so nobody could do it again. But, Cody?
Man, that's I don't know. To me, it's a cop-out pick to pick somebody who already has played in the league. He has the experience. He's like a sophomore who stayed back and is still in his freshman year and kind of wins his freshman class award. But that's okay. My Rookie of the Year is going to go to a man who was taken 3rd overall in the draft.
Let's hear it.
A man in green,
Homer
Jason
pick.
Tatum.
Let's
And
just-
I want to make this clear. I want to disclose this, that had we not had an injury to a Gordon Hayward, I would not be making this pick. But due to the injury, it opens up opportunities. This man has shown an innate ability to score as well as play defense. He can block shots. He can shoot threes. And I think starting in that system with Kyrie feeding him the ball, he's going to do big things. And I think he's going to come away with the award. Even if he's not the favorite by a lot of people, I think he comes away with it.
Man, there's a surprise pick.
Homer?
Yes.
Mario?
Seriously, I agree with Brian. Ben Simmons. The man's got a triple-double already. Yeah, he's been in the league, but he didn't play a game last year. He was hurt. He was chilling. Blake Griffin won he won Rookie of the Year when he came into the league. He did the same thing. He was drafted, took a year off, chilled, came back, dominated.
All right. Those are all great picks. But I'm going to let you know who's really going to win the Rookie of the Year this year.
Here we
Does he
Because
have his own
he's...
shoe brand?
Yeah, he does, because he's a boss, and he's balling right now over down in Los Angeles. I'm talking about Lonzo Ball. Let me tell you
my
what this
God.
man... He's a rookie, and he's good. Get off my case. Lonzo Ball,
Overhyped.
he's not overhyped. Let me tell you...
I like it.
Can I tell you what this man did? All right, here we go. So, his first game started off a little weak. Only scored 3 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists. All right. What did he do game 2? He came at you with 4 threes, 29 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, a steal, and only 4 turnovers?
It's pretty good.
For a rookie?
For
And
anybody.
for anybody, those are LeBron numbers. I mean, LeBronzo is trying to be a thing. He's trying to say that he can play with LeBron.
Stop it.
Look, LeBronzo, like I don't think
I
he
don't
should
like
go
it.
there, but it's a very real
Tell
possibility.
me what he did game 3.
I'm gonna tell you exactly what this man did game 3, Brian, because you're gonna call me out publicly. He went ahead and scored 8 points.
On what percentage shooting?
First off, I don't know why you're gonna attack this man's family like that. All right.
Was it
Oh,
3 for
Secondly,
13?
we're gonna move
Was it
past
3 for
this.
13? Because I think it was 3 for 13.
We're gonna move on to how many
That's pretty
assists
bad.
he had, and he had himself 13 assists.
How many turnovers?
He had 5.
He had 5. You know what his plus minus was in that game?
What was
What?
it?
Negative 24.
That's bad.
That's awful.
That's the most
Yeah,
important
but
stat.
they were. Hold on. That was a bad matchup for him. Okay, he was going up against New Orleans.
Irrelevant.
Okay,
Rookie of the year matchup shouldn't matter.
that's
True.
that's just false unless your name's
I
LeBron.
expect
all right?
more from the Summer League MVP.
He is going to win MVP of this year, and LeBron James is going to leave the Cleveland Cavaliers after winning the championship in Cleveland, by the way, to join him to become a super mogul over there. But anyway, we got more to discuss, guys. Sixth man of the year. Come at me.
Man, to people who know me and happen
Oh
to
my
also
God.
follow us in a fantasy basketball league, they would know that somebody made a questionable trade with me, Mr. Josh Jackson, for the sixth man of the year again, Eric Gordon.
Oh,
I know he's probably benefited a little bit from Chris Paul being hurt, but that's fine. Man is dropping 23.3 points a game, which is going to go up after this game, where he just hit a game winner against the Process.
Is that a big deal, though?
I mean,
I
I
mean,
feel like
he hit a 3 to win the game. He hit a 3 to win the game. No,
Big deal
seriously
for him.
though, Eric Gordon is up numbers. He's killing it. He's putting up MVP numbers coming off the bench.
yeah, you know, I'm going to have to go right off that. I got to agree with you. Eric Gordon, he's just looked so good. And while I think he's benefited from the Chris Paul injury a little bit, I think even when Chris Paul comes back, he's going to come off the bench and kind of provide that fire. Only 2 people have done it previously, which is win sixth man of the year in back-to-back years, and one of them's Kevin McHale. So, you know, we're talking to putting him in within some big names, but I think he pulls it off and wins sixth man of the year this year.
No, that's some good company. Brian, I thought you were going to say Derrick Rose wins sixth man of the year. I really did.
Oh.
Yeah. Really, what a plot twist. No, I think this is the easiest pick out of all the major awards, and you guys totally missed it. It's Swaggy P on the Warriors. Are you kidding me? Like, the Warriors just got better.
Hold on, the award is for sixth man of the year, not 13th man of the year.
Okay, you respect my man Swaggy P right now. He's gonna come off the bench. He gonna kill it. Nathaniel, somebody pull up his stats right now about how many threes this man's hit already. He is sixth man of the year easily. He leads. He doesn't lead, but he's part of the Golden State championship team.
Nope, you heard it here first. Mario thinks Swaggy P is going to lead the Warriors to a championship.
Look,
I'm
to
not
be
wrong.
To be fair, Swaggy P has hit a total of 11 threes so far, and has been in double digits 2 out of the 4 games they've played.
Is he averaging 25 points a game like Eric Gordon?
I'm gonna need you to just quit with this Eric Gordon mess. Like, he already won the award. Like, that's not
You don't
fun.
win it again.
I'm gonna tell you who's gonna really win. Who's gonna really win the award? It's gonna be the entire Cavaliers bench, because they can
Awesome.
all win. They're all great players, and they can all win that award. Going back to the last game, Cleveland versus Chicago, they were getting blown out. I don't know if you guys watched that game, but that 7-footer forward that they got in Chicago was giving them the business. The bench came in, and they all went to work. You had Dwayne Wade in double figures. Well, Dwayne Wade in double figures. You had, I believe, it was either Iman Shumpert or Kyle Korver. How did I disrespect this man? Was also in double figures, hitting 3 threes. They're going to give a group award one time, and it's going to go to the entire Cavaliers bench. You wait and see. Speaking of the Cavaliers and something that they were missing last year, defense. Who do you guys think is going to be the defensive player of the year this year?
I think this is another kind of easy pick, in my opinion. It's got to be Kawhi. Kawhi is not only
Hasn't played a game.
hasn't played a game yet, but that's how much faith I have in Kawhi Leonard. Not only is he probably the second best two-way player in the NBA, he is single-handedly the best defender in the NBA. Whether it's post defending, wing defending, whatever, he can defend all 5 positions on the floor very well. He gets more steals every year than fouls. Like, that is a fact. That's not like me just being like dumb. He gets more steals than fouls.
Fair.
Kawhi Leonard.
All right, Cody.
He's a tremendous defensive player, but I'm going to have to go with the man from the Utah Jazz, straight out of France, Rudy Gobert. I'm going to have to go with Rudy Gobert. Without Gordon Hayward, he is going to be asked to pick up a lot of the slack. Utah is a great defensive team, just in general. He has a great shot blocking ability. He's a great rebounder.
He's great at both of those things.
So I think that he's going to pull away with the defensive player.
I'm gonna go with
Marv.
somebody who's played a game, DeMarcus Cousins, currently second in the NBA in blocks. I feel like he's gonna finish the NBA leading in blocks. I think that the move to the Pelicans only made him better. Had some time to kind of develop, him and Anthony Davis found their role, meshed together, and now DeMarcus has more room to shine really. So he's gonna excel as Defensive Player of the Year. And Kawhi doesn't try that hard during the regular season. Same thing with LeBron. Kawhi could win it, but he won't because he's not gonna want to. If he wanted to, he would, but he won't.
You know what? I'm glad you brought up LeBron James. Because LeBron James Light is going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. I'm talking about Giannis Antetokounmpo is going to be the Defensive Player of the Year. I'm going to tell you why. He is holding down that team in basically every major category. And when it comes crunch time, who's going to be defending their marquee player or having to make the key play? And with the way he's playing now, the spotlight's on him. Every block, every steal, every game-winning defensive stance is going to be another check mark in his column to win Defensive Player of the Year. And also, I'm going to say Cody, the fuck, for taking Rudy Gobert. I respect that pick, but I'm going to have to go with Giannis. I don't know what you guys are thinking.
I respect that, but here's a small scenario for you. You're up by 2, and their best player is coming down the floor with the ball. Who do you want defending him, Kawhi Leonard or Giannis Antetokounmpo?
I want Giannis.
Why?
Giannis gives you more length and versatility.
Not much more length.
Giannis almost has like a 7-foot wingspan.
So does Kawhi.
And he's huge, and
So is
he's
Kawhi.
tall, and
Kawhi.
and
You'd say Kawhi's
like I
tall
said,
there.
he's balling his face off. To Cody's point, or whoever said it earlier, your man hasn't even played a game, and he's coming off an injury, so he's gonna have to be spectacular to win this award. My dude is already producing. He's already known for making defensive plays. I'm not saying he's on the level of a Rudy Gobert or a DeAndre Jordan, but
If he's not on their level, then how's he gonna win?
because it's
he's
about
balling
spotlight,
his
it's about
face off.
attention. And what this man is doing right now is he's either gonna win this or another award we're gonna talk about later on. All right. Speaking of that, let's take a pause from the players real quick and talk about the coaches. There's already been some coaching changes this year with Phoenix's head coach getting fired.
That's awesome.
That's like
There goes my
3
pick.
games. I mean, that's better than David Black getting fired after going to the finals, I
Right.
guess. Who do you think is going to take their team to that next level? What coach adds 10 wins to that team season?
From drink dropper to showstopper, Jason Kidd of the Milwaukee Bucks wins this award this year. Like you said, Giannis is balling his face off, but a lot of people aren't talking about it. The Bucks as a whole are kind of balling their faces off, and I think they're really like coach of the year. You can always talk about Greg Popovich. You can really always talk about Brad Stevens at this point, Mike D'Antoni, like a lot of these people with good teams you can talk about. I really feel like the Bucks are very close to making that jump to being one of those teams. I think that he helps add that enough wins to that team this year to put him over the top for that award.
Yeah, I think you brought up a fair point, and there's a few guys that you can talk about. Is it Mike D'Antoni, Greg Popovich, all guys that have won it. And then you mentioned a third name, Brad Stevens, who could be in the conversation, but he hasn't won it. He hasn't won the award. And in all fairness, you're right. I think he can be a part of that conversation because he has done wonders for that team. In a rebuilding year, they were the number 1 seed last year. I think this is the year you see him get that recognition and get that award for the team that has been built and how they're going to perform this year. I think he brings them to obviously another playoff appearance, possibly another Eastern Conference Finals.
You know what? I wouldn't have agreed with you as much if they didn't lose Gordon Hayward early on. With this injury, if they do still come out to be that second seed where they were projected to be under Cleveland, or even if they overtake Cleveland like they did last year, I can definitely see that. Mario, what are you thinking?
I think that you guys are just overlooking. You guys are going for these big markers. You're going for teams that have kind of already been in the limelight. This year's Coach of the Year is coming out of nowhere, coming out of left field. Frank Vogel of the Orlando Magic wins Coach of the Year. It's only about 4 games into the season, but they already beat the Cavaliers. They look great. They're currently the 3rd seed. Will they finish there? No. They'll finish the 2nd seed. Frank Vogel wins Coach of the Year.
Dang,
Wow.
said with some conviction.
There you go.
Talking about coaches that nobody's really talked about yet, Fred Hoiberg in Chicago, I think, is a really good sleeper pick for Coach of the Year. Going back to the actually, let's not even talk about the Cleveland game where they played really well in. How about losing 2 players to infighting, the injuries that you already had, coming into a hostile environment, Cleveland, the reigning Eastern Conference Darth Vader team, right? And to be up as much as 18 at one point in the first half. Now, Cleveland did do some things and was able to come out with the win, but what I saw there is not a system problem. It's a personnel issue where they need to be healthy and they need to gel. But before a coach can get players to gel, he needs to have them in practice. So from what I saw with the system that he's putting in place, with the trust that he has on some of his younger guys to really put them in positions not to just play the game, but to compete and grow, kind of like a Brad Stevens would do, he's definitely my pick.
Now, see,
Fair
I think
point.
I agree with you that he's definitely doing a good job with that team. I just don't think the Bulls are going to get the media and spotlight attention necessary to win an award like this. Like, just like you were talking about with Giannis, with, you know, he's already gotten the attention of, like, all the defending and everything. I just don't see the Bulls getting enough attention this year. I don't think they're going to be a playoff team, so that kind of...
Even in a weak East, you don't think they can make the
Okay,
playoffs?
to be fair, the East, it's very early, isn't looking that weak. A
No,
lot of the
they-
teams are looking very good this year.
Yeah.
Great this year. All right, guys, let's move on to the granddaddy of all awards. I'm talking about most valuable player, and there's a difference between that and best player. Stephen Curry even said it because he knew he shouldn't have won it that year, but I digress. Who are you guys going for MVP this year?
Okay. Well, this is kind of like a double-edged sword here that you just said. It's not the best player, it's the most valuable player. Well, this guy's both. Giannis. It's absolutely Giannis onto the. It's just like I talked about the Bucks were balling out this year with Jason Kidd. But if Giannis isn't on that team, where are they?
Yeah.
Nowhere.
They're nowhere fast.
This man's putting up 35 points a game, averaging like 8 rebounds a game and 6 assists a game. He's playing with a mission this year. Whether it's, you know, playing for his dad, whether it's playing to really solidify, hey, I'm a top 5 NBA player.
Is this his 3rd year?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe
That's
Yes.
usually when you see that big jump where the player's going to be like, remember Jimmy Butler around his 3rd, 4th year? That's when he took that really good
Right.
step.
Yeah, last year.
Last year's-
3rd year.
That's really
Yeah.
when you see a player really coming
Yeah.
into, and if this is the monster that he's going to be,
Right.
that's a really good pick.
He is effortlessly getting his way into the paint. It's not bad shots that he's taking. It's not like hot streak shots that he's taking. He's coming in and he's just dominating teams. I can't wait to see what's in store for the rest of the season with him.
The one thing I will say about that pick, though, is will his performance lead to wins?
Yes.
Because you don't want it to be like, although Russell Westbrook's team did end up winning enough games, but they didn't really win the amount of games that an MVP usually wins to get that award.
Sure, I see where you're coming from, but Milwaukee's team around Giannis is better than what Russell's team was around him.
Yeah, that's fair. And you said you're excited to see what this season has to come. I'm excited to see what the rest of his career has. I think he becomes the face of the league once you see LeBron retire. I think Giannis is going to be just the face of the NBA, and I also think that this year he wins the Most Valuable Player award. I think it's going to be a fairly unanimous selection between us. I'm not saying panel overall, between us. I'd have to say that Giannis is going to be. I mean, I don't know how you can pick anybody else. Like averaging 36.8 points, 10.8 rebounds. He's averaging a double-double.
Yeah.
And I know it's early into the season, but the man, he plays both offensively and defensively.
He's just like
Definitely.
when LeBron came in and he changed the mold of what an NBA player can look like. That's what Giannis is doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
He's defying a stereotype.
Yeah,
Mario?
it's clearly it's Giannis. I mean, there's no question. We were talking about earlier. Brian said he's going to win Defender of the Year or something of the year. Maybe it was Coach of the Year. I don't know. But Giannis is winning MVP, Most Valuable Player of the Year.
Is that good?
He looks
Coach of the Year.
that hard.
He looks great this year. I mean, I don't see how. It's his to lose. Is he the best player in the league? No, but he will win MVP.
Well, I'm not gonna ride this train that you guys are on. You know what? I'm gonna hop on a banana boat and I'm gonna pick LeBron James to win his 5th MVP. He is still the prototype. Your MVP season is judged by his average season. And this man is starting off playing fantastic basketball, all right? Today he dropped 29, 10, 13 with 4 blocks. He made a 3. He shot 50% from the free throw line, shot 60% from the field, and he already has gone out to say that he wants to shoot 80% from the foul line this year, which would be he better. Like, this is he has to do it at one point. To be fair to him, if you're gonna knock him, you're gonna knock him for that and a jumper. But if I'm gonna go with somebody outside of Giannis, I'm gonna go with the prototype that he was built on, which is LeBron James. Mind you, LeBron James has been on record as saying that he is still out of shape. If you're out of shape dropping a triple-double, dropping 32 and 12, 32 and 13, I don't want to see you in shape. All right? That's just me. I don't know how you guys can pick somebody else.
LeBron is definitely the second pick in this for sure. Especially right now with if LeBron's jumper keeps falling the way it's been falling for his couple of weeks, we're looking at like 2012 LeBron, which is arguably LeBron's best season. So the thing that concerns me about LeBron is LeBron's team too good around him for him to win this award? You know what I mean?
That's crazy to say. That in year 14, 15 of his NBA season, we're going to say that we can't give him the award because his team's too good. When for 13 years his team was really bad and he was really that good and only won it 4 times.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I think that is a valid argument to make. I think that if a team helps make one player better, then is he really the most valuable player in the league?
That's true. And like I said, I did differentiate between best player and most valuable player. So with these 2 players, we're really splitting hairs here.
Yeah.
So it can go either way. Speaking about players, guys, it's time for the injury report, where we're going to talk about who has been injured and what impact that's going to have for their team. So we're not talking about the ankle sprains. We're talking about the season ending where you're out for a few months. Who's gone and making a really big impact to their team. First up, Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward, Celtics player, going out with a dislocated ankle and fractured tibia, season ending. I saw it live because I was watching that game.
Me too.
And it's very you don't really hear it very often when the announcers don't really know what to say except to just scream out what just happened 4 times in a row. He broke his leg. It's like, please stop telling me. I see it. What were you guys think? Did you guys watch that game? What was going through your minds when that happened?
I was watching it for sure. And it was funny. I looked away for 2 seconds, and then I just hear him, Gordon Hayward has broken his leg. And I look back, and I'm like, you just see his foot just the wrong way, and you just know. You just know immediately when you look at that, he's done. Maybe, like, when you first see it, maybe not for the season, but that's not even in your head yet. You're like, nope, he's done. Maybe for his career, he's done.
It looks that bad. Thankfully, he shouldn't be gone for his career.
It was the cleanest thing that could have happened to him. Like, the break was clean, and there was 0 ligament damage in his ankle.
Or arterial damage, because
Yeah.
you have some major blood vessels in your ankle.
Yeah, he got very lucky. I mean, I saw that. I think it's one of those things that looks worse than it is, and it just, you look at it and you're like, you have to look away, and it like makes your leg hurt just looking at it. You just feel his pain, and the pain you saw in his face. Really, the thing that got me was when you watched it after, you saw the reactions on the players' faces. It's just like these guys were right there seeing it, and these other fellow NBA players looking away and like, you know,
Kyrie
winking
Irving
their
cried.
eyes. They're just like guys that like, man, I feel your pain, and that's what really like sinks it in for you, I think. You know, and there was a lot of players who reached out to him on Twitter, and I thought that was really great.
Yep.
You got lucky that it looks like it's only going to be a season. He said, you know, the surgery went as well as it could have. First thing he asked for was a basketball when he came out of surgery. That's what Brad Stevens said. So hopefully he'll be back next year. But it's definitely, as for how it affects the C's, I think they'll still be okay. I think they have enough depth. Like I mentioned earlier about Jason Tatum. You know, they still got Marcus Smart. They got Jaylen Brown, who's going to step up in a big way for that team.
He has stepped up
has
in a big
to.
way.
Huge. The whole team, after Hayward went out in that game against the Cavaliers, the game actually got closer. And they brought it in with, you know, they took the lead at one point.
They didn't.
So I think they're going to be okay. I think they, like they said, they got enough depth, enough coaching to be all right. But it definitely gives them a hit.
Yeah, obviously it hurts them. I mean, they weren't going to win the chip anyways. They weren't going to win the East. I mean, now what? They'll probably still make the playoffs. East is thin. I mean, you still have Kyrie. It obviously sucks for him. Everybody's wishing him a full recovery. Nobody likes to see that. You know, I feel bad for anybody who drafted him. But, yeah, I mean, hopefully he makes a full recovery. He's probably just going to play League of Legends and chill in the meantime.
Yo, does anybody know his handle?
Oh, dude, I wish. I'd friend request him immediately. 7 times.
Play some 2K with him.
But see, I disagree with you a little bit, Mario. I think the Celtics were 100% playing for the finals this year.
And they're playing for it. I don't think they're going to win it.
But like, regardless, like they're playing with the mindset that they are going to make the finals, that they are potentially going to win the championship this year. This 100% completely flips around the Celtics game plan from championship to develop our young guys like crazy. Just get the young guys as many minutes as possible. Get Kyrie out of this year unscathed as much as you can.
You know what, Kyrie asked to be the man. And I'm not saying that he was putting anything negative out there, but this is the situation where you are the man.
Yeah.
When they lose, your name's in the headlines. When they win, your name's in the headlines. This is what you wanted. You need to come up big. He has the talent to, if it's a two or three game difference between the 3rd and 2nd seed, he needs to be that difference. You need to come in clutch and win those last 3 games to get your team to 2nd place in the East.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, he's the guy you give the ball, and you know, in that buzzer beater.
This gives him a really great opportunity to establish himself as a leader, to really get the guys behind him, and to really lead these young guys.
Speaking of a player who is also into online games, Jeremy Lin went down. Yeah, Brian is just, he believes in Jeremy Lin. He's always believed in that really nice guy that you know isn't probably going to be like we used to watch WWE together, and I would root for, you know, the person who was going to win, John Cena, and this man would always take the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, every time, and every time Shawn Michaels would like get STFU'd or whatever into submission. Fortunately for Jeremy Lin, he didn't get STFU'd, but he did get a torn patella in his knee. And I saw the injury. It was one of those freak injuries where it didn't look like anything. Nope. He came down a little awkwardly. It wasn't even like maybe you would think it'd be a knee contusion, like that BS injury that they throw out there when you just bump knees with somebody. Right.
Yeah.
But the cameras zoomed straight into his face. He touched his knee, and instantly started crying. Like, I have never seen somebody go through an emotional shift so quickly. And I think there was a lot riding on him this year. The team wasn't going to be great, but it was good. He and D'Angelo Russell were pretty much given the reins. He was in a good position to do well, maybe even bring back Vincenity for my man Bryant here. And just to see, I feel like he really felt like he left his team down, right?
Yeah, so I wouldn't say he instantly started crying, only because there was about 5 seconds where he was just in pure shock, where he just starts mouthing to him, "I'm done." I was dead. 20 in 5 rebounds. He was playing basketball.
About
Like, I want to know.
what the call?
I'm Brooklyn. To establish.
Oh,
He's Jeremy Lin. It's just he's such a nice guy, and he plays so hard. He plays through every foul. He doesn't flop. He doesn't do those things that just get under your skin in the NBA.
plays the game the right way.
And it's always hard to see a nice guy like that go.
Yeah, I mean, Jeremy Lin, he is, like you said, a great guy. He plays really hard. And it's tough to see any guy go down with an injury, especially a knee injury, because those can be tough and they take a while to come back from. But I don't know if it changes the team's outlook, because like Nathaniel said, they weren't going to be a tremendous team anyway. They weren't going to make the playoffs. They're really just kind of developing players. They're kind of in their own rebuilding stage. So it's just they're going to give the ball more to D'Angelo Russell, kind of see what he can do, develop some of their picks. But hopefully he's back next year. And I guess the question comes, like, does he stay in Brooklyn? Does he believe in what they're doing, or does he test out free agency based on what he showed in the preseason and the few games he played this season? That'll be an interesting thing to watch, I think, next offseason.
Mario?
Stinks for Jeremy Lin. Hope he makes a speedy recovery. But Boston, again, wasn't winning at all. They were going to be more fun to watch. Now, I don't know. I kind of feel bad for anybody going to their games. But, yeah. I mean, dude's hurt. They weren't going anywhere anyways. So, unlike a cold, hard, just sports take, doesn't affect anything whatsoever. And, like, a humanity's sake, like, speedy recovery. Would love to see him back. He's a great player with a great personality and great hairstyles.
If anybody is playing fantasy basketball like we are, a guy by the name of LeVert is on that team, and he has really been stepping up for Brooklyn in Jeremy Lin's absence because they've been getting some minutes. So if you guys can pick up LeVert, I would definitely do that if you need some depth at that small forward position. Moving on to another injury that's more of a, I wouldn't say it's as devastating as it's more mysterious this time, right? We all saw, or I hope you guys saw, the video of Markelle Fultz shooting a free throw, and it just looked like the jankiest thing in history. Turns out this man has been having fluid buildup in that shoulder. They finally drained it the other day, but they don't know what's causing it. Now, it's not uncommon to have swelling in an area and not know cause right away, but at the same time, what is this going to turn into? Is this going to be a nagging injury that he's going to have to start missing games from? Is this going to go as far as when Kobe had to go to, like, Germany to have that weird infusion done to fix his shoulder? Like, where does this go?
This is really weird. Like, this just seems like just really spooky to me that this many doctors can't figure out what's wrong with his shoulder. To be fair, his jump shot was never, like, fantastic anyway. His free throw shooting at Washington was 67% in his season there. I don't know. I don't know if this is something where they're just trying to make excuses for it, or maybe it's like something like, I don't want to get like superstitious or anything, but maybe like a placebo effect where he's just thinking about this injury too much and it's causing his body to react in certain ways. I don't know. I think if this carries on for any longer than a couple of months, then you can definitely consider him out of the top rookies of the year.
Yeah, I think it's tough. Like if you're a 76ers fan, I think you're a little concerned because when you don't know what something is, you think the worst possible thing, and especially with a shoulder injury, not knowing what it is, with them having to drain it, you just hope it's not like a consistent thing, a thing that like lingers on throughout the season, in his career. God forbid, he's a young player and has a lot of potential. So I think you just got to worry about that. Hopefully they figure out what's going on. I mean, I knew that free throw shot couldn't be fully just due to inept
Form,
shooting. Yeah, that could be due
the
to
coach
form.
had to have fixed that at some point.
Yeah, a man doesn't get a free throw like that. I mean, come on. So,
Well, I mean, have you seen? I know he's gonna win the Rookie of the Year. We
Lonzo.
talk about LeBron like that. Back behind that man's name, LeVar, not LeVar. Lonzo has a weird jumper. So
Yeah.
and then remember, Sean Marion's jumper was a
Sean
beautiful.
Marion, that's true.
Yeah.
That was something.
That was way back in the day.
If it works, it works.
Yeah. Moving on. Oh gosh. That's why we're here for you guys, because it's all about the fans. Aaron Rodgers broke his collarbone. Green Bay Nation. What's gonna happen? I don't even know if they had a backup, because Aaron Rodgers was.
Can anybody fill us in on the backup? Because I actually don't know who the Green Bay
Yeah, I don't know.
Brett, the
Wait,
backup-
Rezzo stats. Well,
I got it. Don't you worry.
Look, we could
Keep on with the topic.
we could talk about what this means for the team before we can bring up whoever is going to try to be an eighth of what he is on a bad day. I haven't been watching that much football this year, but I can venture a guess that they're not going to be doing as well with Aaron Rodgers out of the lineup. I think of when Derek Carr went down for the Rams and what an impact that made, and they weren't for the Raiders and what an impact that made. And he wasn't on the same level as Aaron.
So I know that I was talking about the Jeremy Lin injury. Felt so bad about a nice guy getting hurt, stuff like that.
The answer you're looking for, Brett Hundley. Excuse me.
Brett Hundley, Packers backup. Never heard of him.
Put
do you
some
play?
respect on this man's name.
Never heard of him. Literally. Anyway, talking about Jeremy Lin, nice guys getting hurt, sucks. I'm low key okay with this.
Aaron Rodgers.
That's one less elite that the Philadelphia Eagles have to deal with in the playoffs.
Damn.
I know it sounds cold
Yeah,
hearted.
but you guys need it. You've been through a drought.
we
Need
have
everything
never
you
won a
can
Super
get.
Bowl.
Yeah, that's a drought.
Yeah, that's a drought, all right.
That is
that's a never had.
That is a.
1960
No
NFL championship.
So, yeah, it definitely sucks for Packers fans. Your season's done. There's no replacing Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers was all that was willing that team to victory, and he's gone now. So just pack it up, go to a cheddar festival, of some sort.
Yeah, it's tough. I mean, they have a lot of playmakers on that team, but without Rodgers kind of like, bringing it all together, they're not much. And they lost last week without him, and I think that's unfortunately going to be a trend. It sucks for fantasy owners who had him too. Who probably took him pretty early. We had a friend in our league take him in the first round, early second round. So I mean, probably messed with your season too, Packer season and fantasy owner season, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely stinks. One, I don't know why you take him in the first round in fantasy. That makes no sense to me.
And don't ask me. I
But
didn't do it.
Tom Brady first round every year.
every year, like
Hardly.
clockwork. But so, Aaron Rodgers, it stinks. It's kind of silly, but like you have to start every conversation like this, like it stinks or you look like a bad person. But okay, first off, it stinks. That's out of the way. Next, how this actually affects football. I picked the Lions to win that division anyways. Lions have kind of stalled, but Vikings look great. So, let another guy in the NFC North shine. Plus, I think that Mike McCarthy has kind of gotten a good long pass ever since he won his Super Bowl. But Mike McCarthy is not as good as people think he is. Like, he won the Super Bowl, that's great, but I don't know if he was just not good then, and now we're just noticing it, or he's just gotten worse. But I kind of hope that this does something to that effect, where maybe this team just does so bad without Aaron Rodgers, that like, okay, maybe like we have a bigger problem, and they get rid of McCarthy, and then they only get better from there.
Yeah, let's hope. The upside to players getting injured is that it takes the blinders away, and you can see what your team really needs in that player's absence, and hopefully they make the right decision and that franchise gets better. Speaking of a franchise that's going through some rough times right now, New York Giants going through it. OBJ has gone down with a fractured ankle, and I don't watch too much football. I try to keep up to date, so clearly like I don't do horrible in fantasy and that I can talk to you guys, but I did actually watch the Giants game when he finally did fracture that ankle, and you can tell that no matter what the media or spin machine says about OBJ, he cares about two things first and foremost, or three things: his family, then football, then his teammates. And on that field, I saw somebody who had just lost the opportunity to play the sport that he loves and let his team down. Because even though they did pick up a good secondary wide receiver in Brandon Marshall, I believe.
He's also done for the season.
Who is also done for the season, people. Who is also done for the season. This team is going through it. This man went through it. And the tears and emotion that I saw from this player while he was in pain on the turf said it all to me.
Yeah. I mean, the Giants arguably have performed better without those two receivers than they did with them. They've won games. They were defeated with them, but that they were not losing all of those games because of Odell Beckham Jr. Odell Beckham Jr. is probably the most electric wide receiver in football.
Fair to say.
His hands are unbelievable. He's a great route runner. He's got good speed. He has some attitude issues here and there, but most of the time he's quick to repent those. He's too good of a player to play without. And again, this is another situation where it's like the Eagles don't have to play OBJ twice a year at this point now because he's done, but it's still like you'd love to beat a team at their best.
It's weird. There's a lot of NFC players going down with injuries that are benefiting the Eagles, and it almost makes you question if there's a little conspiracy theory going on in the NFC. But seriously, it's tough because the Giants, weren't going far anyway. We had talked that they were already going to be a team that kind of struggled, and now without Odell, it's probably going to hurt him even more. But like Brian said, they won their first game fully without him after the broken ankle. They won in a shocker against the Broncos. So, you hate to see any player go down like we keep saying. I know it's a trend here, but
it's just tough. It's tough all the way around, man.
He is one of the better players, one of the best wide receivers in the game. His hands, undoubtedly amazing. Man with the golden hands.
Yep.
Yeah, big loss to the Giants. Hopefully makes a speedy recovery. Bigger loss to fantasy.
Huge loss to fantasy.
Yeah, tell me about it.
No, really, tell us about it. How's your team doing, man?
Man, not great. Especially not when my first round pick goes down with a fractured ankle.
Maybe you should have picked a quarterback your first round pick.
Maybe I should have.
That's so outrageous. That's too outrageous. That's back on track. You're killing me.
All right, well, don't do that, guys. That is not what you do with your first round pick in a fantasy league. Last up, we got J.J. Watt going down with a tibial planar fracture. So a quick explanation on this injury. It's not like he tore his meniscus or had any, real soft tissue damage from what we've been hearing. The bone or the plate that the meniscus sits on underneath that's what he fractured. It's a very odd injury. You don't really see it too much in the NFL or really in the football or really in most sports. It reminds me of like a really, really bad just a stress fracture. Now it's not. It's way worse than a stress fracture, but conceptually that's kind of what it is. Just so much pressure on that area of the bone that it did break. That defense, that team, forget the defense. The offense needs the defense, and if JJ Watt isn't on defense, I can't begin to think of what that means for this team going forward.
I mean, what kills me about this injury more than anything, because the Texans have always been a team that I haven't rooted for, haven't rooted against for, anything like that, is this injury is wasting JJ Watt's prime. This injury, the injury last year, JJ Watt is starting to feel like, to me, what could have been. Because JJ Watt in his prime, if he was healthy last year and this year, we're talking about setting some records.
He could have been MVP.
Absolutely. We're talking about setting some NFL season records, career records, everything. Just going down as a top 2 defensive player in NFL history. But I think losing these 2 years is critical for him, and it's a shame because I don't think he's ever gonna win a Super Bowl in Houston. That's just, I don't think they're ever gonna be in the right direction while he's there. But he had a chance to really be like a really amazing numbers guy.
Yeah, no, he definitely did. You want to talk about great guys, and did for that city after Hurricane Harvey was amazing, and it really put him to the limelight in the NFL. Just a prime defensive player, like Bryant said, chance to break so many records. And unfortunately, it does kind of sound of what could have been. He is still in his prime, and hopefully he comes back from this okay. I mean, last year, remember, he went down with a back injury, which scared a lot of people because those can often become chronic. And cause concerns for later in your career. So hopefully he can come back. That Houston defense still has some depth. They got Jadeveon Clowney. They got a pretty decent secondary out there. So, for the team, I think they can kind of maintain things. Offensively, obviously they had a spark with Deshaun Watson, so that has kind of helped the team overall. That's how they've been able to win most of their games. But tough to see. Such a nice guy, an NFL star.
Great guy. Mario, what are you
Great guy. No one likes an injury. Blah, blah, blah. Texans were looking great this year. Deshaun Watson looks like the truth, so obviously you kind of wish your defense was at 100%, especially since the AFC South just feels so wide open right now. I really feel like 100% Texans could easily win that division with, I want to say 10 games. I'll give them. Hopefully he makes a speedy recovery. I think that I can see him spending most of his career in Texas, especially in the future. Maybe they don't win a Super Bowl anytime soon, but I can see them winning a playoff game or 2. And, only going from there. Their offense looks great. Their defense, when healthy, looks phenomenal. So when he comes back, they're really going to be a force to be reckoned with. And I see them as a serious contender to being the perennial AFC South winner. Also, I think he's going to win the Walter Payton Man of the Year award for all the work he's done for Houston after the hurricane.
He deserves it.
Yeah.
100%. What, like $26 million raised?
It's like salary. It's
Crazy money.
Yeah.
Crazy money.
Well, you know what, guys, fans, we want to hear what you're thinking. Did we cover all of the people that you think are making a big that an injury made a big impact to them? Let us know in the comments below. We really want to know who's on your radar. Let's lighten things up, guys. I got a little heavy there. All right,
They get a little heavy.
Sad there. Let's have some fun with this. Let's go back and do our winners and losers section. This is when we go through and we talk about who had the best week and whose team bus should have got stuck in traffic on the way to the game. Who are you guys choosing to be your winners for this week?
Man, I'm gonna go with San Diego on this week. San Diego's been on my losers list a lot in these last few weeks, but they're climbing back, man. They're proving that they do not want to be the 49ers or the Browns this year. They don't want to be in contention for that number 1 pick. I think San Diego had a really, really big win this week, and they're definitely my winners this week.
Yeah, and I know easy to do. You mean LA, the most recent move.
I said San Diego. Oh no!
Yeah. Embarrassing.
You're so good all year, guys.
Yeah. Still getting used to it. It's a fair mistake.
It's not.
So I'm going to have to go with a team I haven't picked all year, and I know what you guys are going to say before I say it, but I haven't picked them all year. We're halfway into the season. I'm gonna pick the New England Patriots.
Yeah, he is.
Let me tell you why.
It's Homer Day.
They played in a Super Bowl rematch against the Atlanta Falcons, okay? First of all, they won 23-7. They nearly shut them out. If it wasn't for that one of the last drives of the game where Matt Ryan got a touchdown to Julio Jones in the end zone, it would have been a shutout. The Patriots defense, we can all agree, has looked very bad this season, okay? They had allowed no less than 300 yards passing to all the previous quarterbacks they played, one of which included was Josh McCown, okay? But they held Matt Ryan to 232 yards and 1 touchdown. Last year's MVP, their defense looked much more on par, okay? They have finally showed that that's the team that they were going to be this year, picking up right where they left off last year against that Atlanta defense that couldn't stop a nosebleed. So I'm going to have to go with them as my winners of the week.
You know what really happened? Belichick and Brady finally made the right sacrifice. It took a while. The gods were like sick of the usual goats and stuff. They had to come up with a little something more exotic this time, but they finally got it, and that's why they won.
Wowie. So, winners for this week. I picked 2. First off, Miami. Miami came back with a second comeback win for them in a row. They're looking really good. You know, I assumed after Tannehill went down, Smokin' Jay, nobody really thought too much of him. He was looking great. Miami's winner number 1. Winner number 2, Juju Smith-Schuster of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He found his bike. He doesn't have a driver's license, so he bikes to practice. Somebody stole this man's bike. But he found it. So he's a winner.
I like it. I like the personal,
I love. Wow. I feel like my winner is definitely not as good as Juju Kachu's bike.
Not his name.
Thing. I don't know. I feel like nobody knew this man's name up.
Juju Smith.
He did the Kamehameha touchdown celebration a couple weeks back. He did a Kamehameha touchdown celebration.
No, hold on. Mario can't pronounce Giannis out of the Kupo, hitting it with a hard G. Giannis out of the Kupo.
Nobody can pronounce that.
Mario, can you say Giannis Antetokounmpo?
No, I cannot.
Top player in the NBA. They know J.J. Smith,
rookie who doesn't even have a driver's license.
Juju on that beat.
You know, I'm gonna go with Brian. Well, actually, I'm not gonna go with Brian. I'm gonna go with another California team, and I'm gonna go with the Rams. The Rams played really well. It was one of the few games that I watched, and I thought they did really good. As far as losers, I'm gonna go with ATL. You can't go back into that matchup, a redemptive game for you, to lose like that.
No, you can't.
And what are they now? 3-3 on the season. After that loss,
definitely not where they were last.
They're not, you know, like that's one of those games where 4-2 is a lot better than 3-3. You know, you got momentum, you got a solid winning record, you could afford to lose a game if you needed to, an injury, and to go down to this team who had shown weakness before. But he's up to lose. Together.
They're trying.
Is Mario here? Did he cut out again?
Oh, yeah, it's Mario.
I didn't hear Nathaniel's loser.
Yeah, it cut out after we were laughing that I can't pronounce Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Oh, okay. All right. So I'll pick it back up. Yeah. Moving on to my loser, it has to be ATL. It has to be Atlanta. You can't go into that game against that team that you have such a history with at this point, and to put on a performance like that, that really shows that they're sliding in the wrong direction, right? Your quarterback doesn't play horribly. I mean, he still got his numbers, you know, but you still couldn't find a way to put up some points. You couldn't put up even more field goals against. Now, props to Belichick. It looks like they're finally turning into the Patriots that we've been waiting for, right? We've talked about this, in our first couple podcasts. Look, we got to pump the brakes. It's the Patriots. It's Belichick. They're going to sacrifice the right goats. They're going to pray to the right gods and get to where they need to be. They clearly did that, and it was at Atlanta's detriment. But you have to put on a better show than that, okay?
And they missed 2 field goals too. Matt Bryant.
Yes, he did.
Getting it done.
There's been a few of those. There's been a few missed field goals this year that has really cost some teams. So, to me, the loser has to be the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah, if we're talking losers, mine, again, I did 2 winners. Got to do 2 losers. First are Green Bay. You lost Aaron Rodgers. So there goes any hopes of anything. Because, again, your team's bad without him. Next loser, I'm going to say the Browns. And I love the Browns. I really, really feel for them. I really want them to succeed, even if they don't want them to. But, you know, with how great Carson has looked, and just knowing that they traded away the pick, they still have 2 picks left from that trade, and we don't know how they're going to develop. But man, what's the one thing the Browns have missed for like ever is a quarterback. And here's a quarterback who looks great. And, 2 years, it's only 2 years. But he's looked really good so far. So, you kind of feel bad for the Browns that maybe they should have just tried again. But they've already tried so much at quarterback, so they're like, screw it. This is going to be we can miss a quarterback. We've already drafted so many. And it finally bit him in the butt.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they'll ever get it right. Maybe they will. Maybe it just takes some time. But, man, winless. So they're a good one for loser every week. But my loser is going to be the Carolina Panthers. I think it was Bryant who said it earlier in the season that even though they won in their first week, they looked bad. And you saw it in this game here. Bad play calling all around. Cam Newton looked horrible in the pocket, just making reckless throws. He threw 1 pick at the end of it. I mean, they had a chance to realistically come back and win that game. And unfortunately, he gave it away. And they lost to the Chicago Bears, who have no playmakers really in their wide receiving core. In all fairness,
Tariq Cohen?
I said receiving core.
He might as well be.
He might as well be. I guess that's fair.
But he isn't.
But he isn't. He is a running back. Trubisky was 4 for 7.
Won the game. Won the game.
Won the game. Passes and attempted 7 as a quarterback, and he played the entire game. If you're thinking he only played half,
He played 4 for 7.
he was 4 for 7. He played the whole game. Obviously, it wasn't one drive.
Game.
And they won the game. And Carolina, you lost.
That's all you need.
You lost. And
That's all you need.
It's just it's insane.
Wait,
to me.
is every quarterback doing too much if you can get a win against
Maybe.
Carolina with 4 for 7? What was his stat line? How many yards did he have on 4 for 7?
Not a lot. He didn't have a lot.
That's a fair argument to make. He had one big completion, Tariq Cohen, that really helped. It was like a 70-yard, 70-yard reception.
Look, you're looking for a quarterback in our fantasy league.
I guess you could say he was efficient, but either way, I mean, to lose to a team whose quarterback went 4 for 7, I think Jordan Howard got 30+ carries again. They give the ball to him almost every.
Got to.
And they only got 1 touchdown. They only scored once. And they have too many playmakers, too good a quarterback to be losing a game like that. So, loser of the week.
He had 107 yards, no turnovers.
Like I said, efficient, but
The prototype.
So Cody was clearly struggling to find a loser and took a piece. So I was going to pick the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
Going to make me switch on the spot. And with doing so, I'm going to ruffle some feathers.
You son of a bitch.
No. These feathers are going to be on the top of a certain Chief's head.
Ah, okay.
Those Kansas City Chiefs. That's back-to-back games that they
Yeah.
were not the victors of.
Yeah, they weren't.
They were not
Well
going to
said.
heartbreaker to the Oakland Raiders. Derek Carr coming back from a fractured back to just show up and beat the best team in the AFC.
Slight fracture, apparently.
Pretty solid. Kareem Hunt, 18 attempts for 84 yards with one long rush of 34 yards. So that means on 17 rushes, he really didn't run for much. Like, he wasn't.
50 yards.
This proves that Kareem Hunt can be stopped, right?
No.
I think this opens up a lot of film for people to watch on Kareem Hunt and to learn how to play against him better.
Now, did you watch that game? Was that more Kareem Hunt playing bad or the O-line being off? Like, is it a scheme thing or is it a Kareem thing? Because there's a difference.
I'm not a professional NFL analyst.
Damn it, where's Gruden? There you go, Gruden when you need him.
Yo, Gruden's just gonna yell "Spider to Y banana." We all know it. But Kansas City losing back-to-back games really is the real reason I'm calling them a loser this week. That's tough when you're considered to be the best team in potentially all of football. Can't lose back-to-back games. Can't do it. You can't let yourself lose a close game like that.
Especially to a division rival.
Yep.
And
division
the Raiders.
rival.
In the lose.
Yep.
And you're not the Patriots.
That puts the Raiders right back into contention to win
100%.
to win that division.
And with Carr back, we were talking about injuries before. This is the reversal of that. You got somebody coming back from a legitimate injury,
Played
and
big.
what an impact he made right off the bat.
Amari Cooper really stepped up in this game.
Oh, yeah.
Caught for almost 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. He really breakout game for him. Really kind of bring him back up in the scene a little bit.
Yeah, and speaking of Amari Cooper, I want to give a shout out to our friend Brandon, who is really big on Amari Cooper, has him on his fantasy team. And before the game, he said to us, Amari Cooper is going to go off for 3 touchdowns and 200 yards. And I looked at him and was like, there's no way it happens. And he didn't do the 3 touchdowns, but he sure came close. So I got to give him a shout out for calling that out.
Yeah, it was a great shout out, but you know where Amari Cooper stayed? On his bench.